Hi, Eben.
Hi.
Thanks, by the way, for this really valuable content you've been sharing today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The question I have is, when you had us do the exercise about the customer avatar,
Yeah.
and trying to identify...
In the Altitude program?
Exactly. Identify features, fears, and what have you.
Yeah.
I found it somewhat challenging because my wife and I, we run a test prep and college planning firm, and specifically, there are two audiences we have to address as far as the needs.
Yeah.
The parent and the student.
Yeah.
Completely different worlds, you know what I'm saying? So I'm curious, how would you suggest to address, through one's web copy, these two sometimes conflicting, you know what I'm saying, worlds, How would you go about doing that?
Well, which one of them is making the buying decision?
Obviously the parent. But
Okay.
very often, sometimes the student actually visits our site first. Maybe they did some Google search or what have you, and they ultimately go, wow, I like this site. I will love, as a matter of fact, Mom, check this out, or Mom, can I have the credit card? So again, different worlds,
It's a tough one, and I'll tell you why it's tough. One reason it's tough is because you're not asking about something that we were covering here. And so I have to go off, I got 4 or 5 people standing over there, and now we have to go off way out on a tangent on something that is an exceptional thing. You know what I mean? It's a tough one.
Yeah.
And I actually have a friend that sold stuff to that market, and so I know what you're dealing with. And I think it would just take, it's too out there. I appreciate where you're coming from, but I think that it'll just take everybody kind of as a group off track.
Okay.
I'm going to give you one thing that's just an out-of-the-box idea that I think might be useful to everyone here. Sometimes it's not about trying to do both well. Sometimes it's about what do you do that when you pour the leads in the top, the most money comes out of the bottom. Okay? Because you could drive yourself crazy trying to get it just right for both of them. Okay? So it might be you put a button up at the top that says, if you're a student and you want to blah, 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 test prep this and that, click here.
Okay.
And if you're a parent and you want to understand how this is going to help your child, whatever, click here. You might try that. It might just say, it might just be addressed to the student. That's it. But you strategically drop in 10% of extra stuff that the student won't care about that's over in the sidebar and a couple of subheads that point to it that the parents are going to key right into. And that puts it over here. You might only talk to the parents. Just try a few things and see what works.
Okay.
Because driving yourself crazy with, how do I talk to 2 people at once? Your 2 sides of your brain are going to be like wigging out.
Sure.
Whereas all that really matters is what's the best conversion.
Yeah.
When there are overlapping aspects of a business with different target audiences, how do you recommend handling the landing page?
Did I just tell someone to get lost that asked that question, or is this a different question?
Well, it all comes. There's a bunch of different things that it comes back to in my mind, which is if it's related
Can I get you
to
a little